I'll reiterate this. I've said this twice and let it sink in. In 2010, Christian Laettner enshrined in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, a member of the 1992 Dream Team. But Christian is the only player of that team who hasn't been inducted into the Hall of Fame individually. And Christian Laettner joins us on the program. Why is that?
Dan, is that you?
Yes, it is, Christian.
It's me. I know we're looking different, these days, but good to see you.
Good to see you. Why aren't you in the Hall of Fame for your playing career?
Who knows? I don't really think about it that much. I'm in plenty of Hall of Fames, and the one I'm maybe most proud of is the Polish Hall of Fame, so I'm fine.
What did you get for the Polish Hall of Fame, and is Krzyzewski in the Polish Hall of Fame?
I mean, I'm pretty sure he is. He better be. I think he is. I got a nice trip up to, I think it was in Detroit, and we had a nice banquet and maybe a trophy or some type of medal, and it was a great time. My family was able to join me because they're proud Polacks.
No, but I'm serious. Why you're not in the Basketball Hall of Fame? And because people will have to understand it's what you did in college and or the pros, and you were one of the 5 or 10 greatest college players of all time. Your resume shows that, and you had a sustained pro career. So I'm curious. I know you might not care, but just from somebody covering the sport, you should be in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Well, thanks, Dan. I appreciate you saying that. And every time you mention it, some of my friends text me and say, Dan Patrick's, doing it again. And I don't commit any thought to it.
Okay.
I don't think about it. I don't worry about it. It might happen someday, and life goes on.
Were you there when the Dream Team went in, whenever, the 2010 enshrinement?
Yes, I was there.
What was that like? How much smack talk was going on?
It was awesome. It was great to see all the guys again. I retired from the NBA in 2005, so I went 4 or 5 years without seeing any of my old buddies or guys that I used to play against. So it was great to be there and to see everybody and to be part of that group.
But, having so much confidence when you played at Duke and in the NBA, and then all of a sudden you're around the Dream Team guys. Can you be Christian Laettner around those guys? Or did you have to, kind of suppress your ego a little bit?
They allowed me to be Christian Laettner, but at the same time, they wanted me to know and to be and to act like a rookie. And that's what I did. And that's why in the past I've said it would have been harder for Shaq or Alonzo Mourning to be on that team, because maybe you got to throw the ball to Shaq a little more. And maybe Shaq doesn't accept his role as willingly as I did. I was a very good rookie. I knew my role. I loved the fact that when the media walked in, no one came to me and wanted to talk to me. And after practice, I would just go pick up the balls and put them in the racks and pick up everyone's dirty towel and get ready for the next practice. So it was a great environment. I loved every second of it. As you know, Dan, we had a lot of success my junior and senior year at Duke. But if you had to ask me what was my favorite year at Duke, I would say my freshman year. And I loved every second of playing in the NBA. But if you had asked me my favorite year, I would say my rookie year. Even though we lost a lot of games my rookie year with the Timberwolves. Like a lot of people, I prefer things that are brand new, things that are over my head, things where I'm just flying by the seat of my pants and I don't really know what I'm doing and I really can't control anything. So my favorite year at Duke was my freshman year, when there weren't that many expectations put on my shoulders. Or I loved every second of the Dream Team because I didn't have to score 20 points for us to win. So having no expectations is a time that I love.
Talking to Christian Laettner, joining us on behalf of DraftKings Sportsbook. It's available. No sweat bet, any college basketball game between now and Sunday. You can opt in, apply the no sweat token, and if the bet loses, you still get a bonus bet back. But when you look at Jordan up close, when you're watching him with the Dream Team, it felt like that was the coming out party where Larry and Magic had already passed the baton to Mike, and he was the best player in the game and dominating probably those pickup games. What was your first impression when you see Jordan or you're trying to guard him?
My first impression of Jordan and my lasting impression of Jordan is how much effort he put forth on the defensive end. People don't talk about that enough. You know, you get on Facebook and it shows his dunks and his offensive plays, but you got to remember, I think he was first team, all defensive team, 8, 10, 12 years? I mean, people don't stress that enough. I coach basketball nowadays, Dan, with middle school and high school players, and I don't have time on the court to teach the kids defense enough. You're only practicing with them once or twice a week, and you got to work on offensive stuff. And if you don't let them shoot 3-pointers, they cry. And if you don't let them do the stupid Euro step, you know, they complain and all this stuff. Well, how about some defensive drills and some defensive work? And Michael Jordan was the greatest defender also. And look at the effort Kobe Bryant put forth on the defensive end. And that's where the differences are made. The small little things in the game that make a huge difference. Playing defense hard, playing defense the right way.
But are you coaching, are you channeling Mike Krzyzewski when you're coaching these middle school kids?
I am, and usually it's when I get a little too intense and a little too passionate and maybe raise my tone of voice a little bit too much, because that's what made us good at Duke or great at Duke, was the intensity and the passion that Coach K had every second. And that's what I loved about him so much. When I find myself being patient and I find myself not losing my patience and losing my temper a little bit, then I'm more like my father. My father coached grammar school kids, such a patient man. I love the way my dad coached, but it also feels good to get intense and to get passionate about the game out there and maybe raise your tone of voice a little bit and tell these kids, we got to play harder. We got to play better. We got to play some freaking defense.
You hit a 15-foot turnaround jumper on this day, giving Duke the overtime win over Kentucky. 10 for 10 from the floor, 10 for 10 from the line, 31 points. Anything else from that game that we may not know? Because we certainly have dissected that over the years, over the decades.
No, I don't think, anything's not been spoken about.
Was there any chance you weren't getting the ball on that inbounds pass?
There was a chance. I think Coach K said something like, if Christian's not open, throw it to the sideline to Thomas Hill or Bobby Hurley. You would have to ask Grant, because he's the one that had the ball in his hands. He was the quarterback at that time. He's the one making the ultimate decision. So you would have to ask Grant that question.
And that was a harder play, though, than you just getting a 15-foot jumper.
Well, every play on the basketball court is difficult, especially during March Madness, especially against Kentucky when you're down 1 point and there's 2.1 seconds left and there's a lot of pressure and you don't want to lose, and the Duke family and the Duke fans are going to cry, and I mean, everything will be over. My career at Duke would be over. So there's a lot of pressure, but that's why you go to Duke. That's why you play in all those. That's why you play in all those big games against NC State, against Carolina. You go down to Clemson where they're trying to kill you and they're throwing heated up quarters at you, from the stands. And you just
wait. They're heating up coins and throwing those at you at Clemson?
I swear, when I was at Clemson, I got hit with a penny or a nickel, and it seemed like it was warm, Dan. I'll tell you that. But you just get used to it. You get used to that pressure, it's such a great feeling, and it's such a great thing to still be able to perform under all that pressure. And I loved every second of it.
Yeah, you embraced it, and you embraced being a villain too.
I embraced playing for Duke. I embraced playing for a great program that had a support staff and a family and a fan base.
But you had to like being hated, because that means you're really good or great.
No, I liked representing Duke. And when you're Duke basketball and you're winning a lot of your games, and every place you go, it might be the biggest game of their season, and they're going to give you your best shot, and it's hardening you. You know it's making you a better player. That's the thing that I loved.
What about expanding the tournament? There's been talk of that. Where do you stand on that?
No, they gotta, everyone says the horse is out of the barn, and I'm here to tell you that everything's going wrong. NIL, take it away. Transfer portal, take it away. Expanding the stupid tournament, take it away. You have to make it feel special. You have to make people earn their spot to get in the tournament. I know everything is about money, and money makes the world go round. Everything they're doing is wrong. The NIL is bad. Take it away. The transfer portal, bad. Take it away.
Yeah, but they can't. It's already done, Christian. Now we have to adapt to it. Like, that's the problem with it. Grown-ups allowed this to happen. Would you have asked for NIL money at Duke?
No, even though everyone says, boy, Christian, you would have made a lot of money if NIL was going when you were there. That's what the NBA is for. That's why there's guys in the NBA making $50 million a year. That's what you train and work hard for, and the payoff comes at the end.
What do people say to you when they see you outside of where you live, like in an airport? What do people say to you normally?
Nowadays, they say, "Can I take a picture with you?"
Okay.
and a lot of them say, "I love you," and a lot of them say, "I hated you, but can I still take a selfie with you?"
You're a coach, man. I can't imagine that. By the way, Bobby Hurley is in the Polish Hall of Fame as well.
Yes, he should be. And Bobby's a coach, and his brother Danny's a coach. And how good is that Hurley family at coaching? I love watching UConn play. They're an incredible team, but they don't play pickup playground basketball. They slow down when they need to. They pass ahead when they need to. I love the way UConn plays.
I do too. It's old school. I mean, it's just they're not dependent on the three. Do you think Coach K would have let you guys let it fly from 3-point range?
He would have let certain people who could shoot the three-pointer shoot the three-pointer. I mean, you have to be able to prove yourself in practice. And if you're making them in practice and the coaches turn to Coach K and say, man, Laettner can shoot the three, we should let him shoot the three. Every decision Coach K made was you had to prove it in practice. So I think that's what he would have done.
I asked Coach K who had more range, Caitlin Clark or J.J. Redick. Who do you think he said?
Caitlin Clark.
No, he said J.J. Redick. I go, no way. But he didn't take deep threes. Caitlin takes deep threes.
Yeah, the logo three wasn't a thing when JJ was in school, but I've seen Dennis Scott hit half court shots like he shot his free throw. And he would go out in Cameron, before the game in warm-ups, and our fans would be freaking cheering for Dennis Scott. And I was like, what the heck's going on? But he was out there putting on a circus show and shooting half-court shots like you and I would shoot our free throw.
But then, was Kenny Anderson still there?
Kenny Anderson was there a year or two later. Kenny Anderson's one of the greatest point guards that I've ever played against, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's great to talk to you. Hope you're doing well. Don't get kicked out of any games. Don't, have something go viral, where you're yelling at a seventh grader, okay?
I've coached about 100 games, Dan, and I've gotten kicked out of one.
What did you do to get kicked out? Did you argue a call?
I might have said the F word to the ref. And they kicked me out, but luckily it didn't go on YouTube. It didn't go viral, so I got away with it.
If it did, Coach K would call you.
He might, and he would say, "You're doing good. 1 out of 100 ain't bad."
Good to visit with you. Thanks for joining us, Christian.
Okay, Dan. Thanks a lot.
Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame. We're going to get you in.
Thank you.
Christian Laettner, two-time champ at Duke and part of the Dream Team. By the way, joining us on behalf of DraftKings Sportsbook, and they have the no-sweat bet. Any college basketball game between now and Sunday, the no-sweat token. And if the bet loses, you still get a bonus bet back.
Polish